Namaste and welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity. And we're going to continue with our practice of answering a question from a jar. I'm in a different environment right now, so you may notice different sounds and different things in the background. I'm watching my grandson, and he's at school right now, but when he returns, things get pretty noisy around here. Lots of pets here, more so than in my own household. So I pulled out a question from the jar. I'm going to take a deep breath. And my exhale is simply to relax the body, relax the mind, so I can answer the question not by ego, not by this idea of impressing anyone, but by this sense of what I've learned, a collection and copulation of all I've learned. I'm hoping to assimilate as I answer each question. And the question is, what do you think about today's use of pronouns? What do you think about today's use of pronouns? And I'll take a deep breath. Oh, I should set my timer as well. I'll get to take another breath. Might need it for this one. So today's use of pronouns, and I think what they're trying to refer to is the gender obscurity instead of defining each other. And we want to be defined by our genders, and our genders are not necessarily what we traditionally believe they are. We have the his and her. We have the him, or the his and him, and her and hers, and we have the their and them. That multiple use of different pronouns that we can use now compared to what we used to use. And of course it refers to that people are not necessarily the genders they are born with. And there can be something called gender fluidity, where we can go beyond our genders to experience life in ways that we're not defined by those genders, thus the their and them gender pronoun. First of all, I want to say that we are not our genders because we are not our bodies, right? We are not our genders because we're not our personalities, and a lot of times those genders are associated with our personalities. We are not our genders because we are not these personalized versions of our me-ness that we often identify with and maintain and try to reinforce with all our might throughout our lifetimes. So what I think about pronouns then is great, go for it. But a pronoun is just a pronoun. So whether you use he or whether you use her or whether you use them, it really doesn't matter because we are neither him or her or them, right? We are something that cannot be defined by our gender, that goes way beyond body and mind. And that's really hard for people to understand because we're still, most of us, trapped in this idea that we are the body, that we are the personality, and that we are this intellectual mind that we identify with. We are the lives we're living, We are trapped by the lives we're living and the circumstance we're living in, just as we are trapped in our bodies. Say, for example, if I was born in a female body, but I was male in my mind and personality, then that makes it really challenging, does it not, to experience life until you feel the balance of the body with the mind and personality. And of course, that is a real issue for many people who are transgendered. So by all means, if you feel like you need to change your bodily form to match who you believe you are, personality and mind-wise, I say go for it, great. But just don't get too hung up on that as to who you are either, right? I like people to go a little deeper than that and to realize they're neither the gender that they have or the personality that they're using to express themselves with through that gender. So, yeah, I have no problem with pronouns whatsoever. I try my best to respect them when I'm in an environment where those pronouns are used. I try to be as neutral as I can until I'm aware of what the pronoun is that the person prefers. But I don't get hung up on them because I don't see them as their pronouns, right? For example, I don't even see the pronoun me as meaning anything. It's just something we adapted and used to define the personalities we have in these bodies and with these minds that we're using. And so we call that me. But through my yoga practice, and the deeper I get, and I'm not deep yet, but the deeper I get, I realize that I am not this me, right? self-realization is a self with a capital S, not the me self, which is a little s in it, as in myself. It is much deeper than that, and I need to pull away all those layers I'm using to identify myself so I can fit into this society, so I can, get around in this world as an ego. I need to get beyond that to realize who I truly am at the deepest self. And of course, those layers that have to be removed are the use of pronouns, those layers that we use the pronouns to help us build and maintain. So we are not the pronouns we are using. No, I'm perfectly okay with using them, until we get to that level where we realize we're not the pronouns. By all means, use them. By all means, do what you need to feel like you need to do to get your body synced up with your mind and personality. If that makes your lifetime better on this earth, go for it. No problem. I honor that, respect that. I think it's very, very challenging for most people to do that. It takes a lot of courage and bravery to do that. It's very courageous and brave to be who you are. And I think what's odd in that says, I'll never get that quote right, that, being who we are is probably the biggest challenge we have on this lifetime, right? Expressing who we are honestly and openly to the rest of the world, because it puts us in a very vulnerable position for attack by individuals whose own samskara layers and own personality layers are so fixed and strong, and they cling to them with all their mights and all their convictions about what is right and what is just with all their mights, that they can't see beyond them. And that causes a great deal of problems. So I would say, by all means, use your pronouns. I don't think it's harmful. I think if it's while you're in your personality, you still identify with your personality, by all means do that. But please don't limit yourself there. Go further beyond the pronoun to find out who you truly are. My phone is ringing, so it's just going to annoy us a little bit. So I'm going to stop here and answer that, but I hope that answered your question. Thank you so much for the great question, and may you have a wonderful day. Namaste.